Almost 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys suffer sexual abuse in South Africa.
Every day in South Africa, approximately 58 children are victims of sexual abuse. Statistics continue to rise as children in South Africa are exposed to sexual abuse within their homes, schools, and neighborhoods. To date, the most commonly identified risk factor for sexual abuse are in the child's immediate environment, including their family.
Childhood sexual abuse in South Africa is important to consider when looking at its impact on child development, as evidence indicates victims in South Africa have consistently poorer physical and mental health outcomes than other children.
Those affected are at increased risk for HIV infection, risk for re-victimization, bullying, and are associated with higher levels of depression and suicidal rates.
The experiences of childhood sexual abuse often compromises survivors' capacity to trust people, which has led to a sense of isolation and difficulty forming secure attachments.
Stress within the prefrontal cortex may cause hypervigilance and paranoia in developing children, such as declining attention and poor academic performance, as well as subtle neurocognitive abnormalities.
A study further estimated that the cost of inaction to prevent childhood sexual abuse in 2015 amounted to nearly 5% of South Africa's gross domestic product. These findings show that preventing children from violence can help to strengthen the health of a nation by ensuring children reach their full potential and drive the country's economy and growth.
Additional costs to society include delinquency and crime, often stemming from substance abuse. Within a 2012 study, nearly 1/4 of methamphetamine users had a history of childhood sexual abuse.
According to a 2018 study, drug use within South Africa could be reduced by up to 14% if sexual violence against children could be prevented.
Sexual abuse can also pose a health risk to society through transmitted diseases such as HIV and AIDS. As of January 2019, 7.2 million people living in South Africa have been diagnosed with HIV.
Universally, childhood sexual abuse is being addressed within the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Article 34 protects children from forms of sexual abuse.
Article 34 states that parties undertake to protect the child from all forms of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. For these purposes, states parties shall in particular take all appropriate national, bilateral, and multilateral measures to prevent a. the inducement or coercion of a child to engage in any unlawful sexual activity, b. the exploitative use of children in prostitution or other unlawful sexual practices, and c. the exploitative use of children in pornographic performances and materials.
In South Africa, the government is also attempting at protecting children from sexual abuse. Within their handbook for members of parliament also highlights that children should be protected from sexual abuse in section 28(1)(d). Right to be protected from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, or degradation.
Departments in charge of protecting these rights include the Department of Social Development, Health, Police Services, and the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development.
Despite the police services being in charge of handling cases of rape, according to a 2017 study, it is estimated that only 1 in every 9 cases of rape is reported to the police, leaving only 8.6% of individuals prosecuted for child sexual abuse.
While the current child protection system in South Africa mainly focuses on responding to child abuse, policymakers and practitioners should consider investing in child abuse prevention programs.
Due to the lack of support from a government level, the statistics of childhood sexual abuse in South Africa continue to rise.
Strong community-based organizations exist within South Africa. One such as Shukumisa Coalition, who runs different programs supporting individuals exposed or affected by sexual violence. They also work to bring changes to policy and government.
After getting in touch with the organization, wondering what we could do as Canadian students, they recommended staying in touch and aware of petitions circulating that challenge the government's legislations with protecting children from sexual abuse.
Individuals can also educate themselves through online resources such as Childline South Africa. Financial donations are also a great need to many non-government organizations in South Africa.
Globally, individuals can also get involved with supporting children affected by sexual abuse by sending supplies and clothing to such organizations like Childline South Africa.
Do you really need to be convinced any further? The evidence is clear. You and I need to do our part to end child sexual abuse in South Africa now.